Yo, everybody. Um, Welcome to episode 2 of our new podcast, which of course we didn't even say the name of
No,
it in the last video, which is called Our Cousin, was it?
your
Your Cousins Are
your
Critics.
that's right. Your cousins are critics.
Your Cousins Are Critics, yes.
They're smelly. They're unemployed. They're critics.
Yeah. And so yeah, those of y'all who didn't watch the last episode, welcome here. This is if you didn't watch that episode, this is my cousin Kate again.
Hello.
And the last episode we reviewed Taxi Driver, which was his first time watching this. Let me get rid of these notifications I keep getting. Okay. That's still no, they're notifications. But
a suspicious website virus.
no. But yeah, we reviewed Taxi Driver, his first time watching, and now today this is another movie, a another first time watch for him again. That is a movie I've talked a lot about on the channel. Even my second ever video on this channel, my second ever review. I'm sorry, seeing you in the corner of my face, I can see your smile. But my second ever review was this movie, so here's another review for it.
we meet again.
Yes, that is Richard Linklater's Slacker. Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah. So all right. So yeah, released in 1990, written and directed by Richard Linklater, of course. So yeah, his first time watching, and what were your thoughts?
Wow. Yeah, I was kind of thinking. I was like, how? We kind of just started recording, and then I started thinking, like, actually, like, how are we gonna jump into this?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a little different from other films. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So first of all, I liked it.
Nice.
But it after watching it, like we had to go get Brahms because my brain was like kind of like it felt like it was swollen from watching this movie because there was like it felt like this movie was saying a lot
Oh.
and also nothing at the same time. So my brain was like just
I mean, there's
wigging
not
out.
like a plot or anything like that. It's just a simple movie that involves more than one person. There's
Hmm.
not a main character in this movie, despite this girl being on the cover. She's not even close to being the main
Yeah.
character. She only appears in one scene. But yeah, it's a different kind of movie. The only thing I can think that is close to this movie is a certain episode of The Simpsons called 22 Short Films About
Oh
Springfield. Do you remember
yeah,
that
yeah,
one?
yeah,
It had, of course, the famous meme, the steamed hams,
yeah.
and there's so much other stuff. Great episode. And I was even thinking when I very first saw this movie, it was reminding me a lot from that episode. And I was thinking, I wonder if it was a reference to this film. And I've looked it up, and there's no proof that it is, honestly.
Mhm.
But um, but it does. It reminds me a lot like that episode, and yeah. Um, but like, yeah, it's pretty different. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I
This
think
movie?
I think we should probably this is it's safe to say this is every one of our podcasts is going to be a spoiler podcast, right? Like
Yes.
that's okay.
Even though I wouldn't say there's like a whole lot to really spoil in the
Not
film.
with this one. No.
Not really, but I mean, just in case, spoilers, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So the
Fuck,
movie
I forgot to put a spoiler warning in the last in the title of the last
people,
video. I'll do that
people
later.
are getting eaten alive.
I'll do that later. But but yeah, but yeah, not really much goes on in this movie. I mean, so what really happens in this film is just a bunch of shit. It just like follows one person who was played by Richard Linklater himself in
Mhm.
the movie. Um, and it shows him getting off the bus station and he's talking to this taxi driver about dreams and then he gets off. There's a woman that gets hit by a car and then it follows another person who, by the
Yeah.
way, was actually well, yeah, okay, spoilers. He was the I think he was supposed to be the guy who hit his own mother with the car.
Yeah, he killed his mom.
Yeah.
So it's
and
like,
and then it just follows, just it pretty much just follows other people. Like when a person walks into the shot, it follows them, and then so on
yeah,
and so on. It's really cool. I really
yeah.
like that. I've
It,
never
it
seen anything else like that besides that Simpsons episode. But
it is like it's really inspiring. Um, it makes you want to like go out and be creative and stuff and film or make music or whatever you do.
yes, yes,
Um, but yeah, so like like from start to finish, it follows someone like he said, and then someone enters the frame, and then it follows them.
yeah, it's really cool.
It's so seamless too. Like you're just kind of sitting there absorbing
Yeah,
everything, and it just kind of goes. It's very impressive,
yeah.
um, and just strange. Like I remember I watched, like I put this on in the background
Oh yeah.
one time before this, and I only
Oh,
watched.
we got a funny story about that. Go ahead and
Oh
finish.
yeah,
We go ahead and finish.
I only watched like maybe the first 10, 20 minutes, and then I like was like, oh man, I'm tired. I'm gonna fall asleep. But I was
I just
doing,
never went back to it.
yeah, but it was just crazy how they kept up this that aspect of the movie of like, oh, we're jumping, like probably 5 to 10 minutes is the most a single character got on screen, probably or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Some longer than others, but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, well, real quick though, a little off subject, but yeah, what's funny is that I actually bought this movie not too long after I moved in to where I live now. I bought this from Amazon, but it actually wasn't the exact same DVD as this. I mean, it was of course the Criterion, but it wasn't in this packaging.
Fancy
What
dancy.
was funny is that you see the one I had was just like in a normal case, but it was clear instead of like this, like black, you know. But that was what I originally had. But then but then I had a birthday, and this guy right here got me this one right here, this version, and I was like, well, this one looks even cooler. So you know what? I'll just go ahead and give my copy to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
it's just
that's
a
what
trade,
happened.
which is like it's bound to happen. James has a lot of movies, so
Yeah.
I was like, Slacker. That seems like it's on a Criterion. Like he's bound to like it, and then like he already had watched it and stuff, and I was like, well,
You
shit,
didn't even
man.
know I watched it.
I'm sure I
I
already
thought I
knew.
told you at least.
I know we talked about it, yeah.
Right.
And then for sorry, I guess I just forgot. Like buying gifts stresses me
I
out, so
mean,
I always do a
you
bad
just didn't
job.
know I had it. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm a bad gift giver though.
Nah, you're
But
fine, man.
um
I loved After Hours. So that's
oh
what
that
you gave, and The
oh
Witch.
man.
You gave me those movies for Christmas
Yeah,
last year.
those are
And then for my birthday, you gave me a Candyman, and I really enjoyed that
I basically just give them all the movies that I like and
one.
hope for the best because,
Right.
cross my fingers.
Yeah.
Um but okay, so I'm kind of just curious on your thoughts on this movie.
Mm.
Like what does it bring to you, my friend?
Man, I think I just like the filmmaking aspect for the most part. I
Mm,
think it's very well done, very well directed. It's
it
not
is, yeah.
perfect. It's not a perfect movie. It's a low budget film. And there's even a shot with a boom mic in one part. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that
I
was really
pointed out, I
good.
was like, boom mic. Like I even noticed that the very first time I watched it. I saw it.
I really
But
it was charming to see that. It was really
I don't.
charming.
I can't even think of another movie that has a boom mic.
Little House, where the red fern grows. I remember Brad.
Yeah, I do
We
remember
went to
that.
school with this guy named Brad. He's very funny, and he pointed it out
Yeah,
in a math
I
class.
do
I think we were
remember
watching
that.
it for some
Yeah,
reason.
I do remember that.
He said, "Look, there's a boom mic," and there was a little black ball.
I think you
On the
made a
boom
joke
mic.
and you said, because we are like really into like rock music during that time, and he made a Soundgarden reference and said, "Huh, Black Hole Sun." That's what Kate said.
I'm a comedian. I'm a
He
comedian for
is,
sure.
but
I take improv class.
no, you're right on. Um, but no, I think this is just a really cool film, and I gotta say, Richard Linklater is one of my favorite directors now. I'm starting to watch some more of his films. I love the Before trilogy, Before Sunrise in particular. We might need to watch that maybe if you're down to watch a romance movie. That is,
With you anytime.
but
Anytime.
but yeah, that is my favorite by him so far, and the other two are good as well. I need to watch those again, but I've actually seen the first one more times than those though.
Mm.
But those are great. I'm trying to think of. I know you've seen School of Rock because
Multiple
we
times,
grew
yeah.
up with
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
movie. Did you not know that was Richard Linklater?
I know it was him. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only other movie that I could name from this guy.
You have seen Bernie with Jack Black.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's Richard Linklater as well.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
I
Wow.
haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
That's when we need to watch. It's funny. I love
I mean, I'm gonna watch it anyways because I'm working on Richard Linklater ranking.
Oh,
So,
nice, nice. I love
but
that movie. I
yeah.
think it's great.
Have you seen Dazed and Confused?
Parts, but nothing I could believe.
That was a movie which I reviewed. Check it out. But I was negative on it because I didn't really like it that much. But after watching it a second time for the ranking, I liked it a lot better.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this movie's actually pretty good. But let's see, what else did I watch? His first film, which was called "It's Impossible to Learn by Learn to." Oh shit! It's impossible to learn to plow by reading books.
Oh,
And
that's okay.
it's a 70-minute film that is debut. I think a lot. I'm sorry, just seeing you in the corner of my eyes kind of making me laugh. But
My face is scary. I know.
but that is his very first film. I think a lot of people would say Slacker is his first film, but no, that actually was. And even though it's very even more amateurish than this one, like it's a lot way more independent. I don't even know if there was any money involved in that movie. I think he just brought a camera with him and just filmed himself. And there's not even a story. It's just him walking around and talking to people. There's even a scene where he talks to Daniel Johnston, my all time favorite singer songwriter. But yeah, the movie's okay. It's kind of boring, but it's interesting at least.
Yeah.
On the watch, I wouldn't watch it that much, but it is actually on this Criterion. I think that's the only physical release of it is on the Criterion. Yeah, I see. What else did I watch? Suburbia, which is my second favorite Richard Linklater. Maybe I don't know. I'm going back and forth whether I like this or Suburbia better, but Suburbia is really good. Not to be confused with the '80s Suburbia, but no, it's a '90s movie. Um, kind of in some ways like Clerks, which by the way I will mention Clerks again in a little bit in this video, but
Stay tuned.
something something like that. I mean, it does take place at a convenience store, but they don't work there. They're just like outside hanging out. But it's actually a pretty cool movie. It really is, and there's even a twist in the movie, something unexpected that happens at the end of the film that really caught me off guard, and it kind of made the movie. To be honest, well, I mean, the movie was great anyways, but yeah, it was great. That was a great one. I also watched The Newton Boys, which is a biopic about these brothers who were bank robbers, and it was okay. Ethan Hawke was in it, and Vincent D'Onofrio, my favorite actor of all time, Matthew McConaughey, was in it. That's a joke, but
I was like, wait.
that's a
changed on me.
no. I don't hate him. It's just his voice that I hate. But
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But and also Skeet Ulrich, I think, was in it as well, who was in Scream and some other movies. But and also that dude in this movie that played that guy that got back from the funeral that kind of looked like Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
He was in that movie as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that movie was okay. I think my least favorite so far. What's it called? Wake in Life. That's an animated movie. And that one it was pretty good, a little bit boring, but at least interesting. It's about dreams. So kind of like that first scene in this movie where Richard Linklater's talking about dreams. That's kind of what that movie is, but animated.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. And then I think the last one I watched was another animated movie he did that came out this year called Apollo 10 and a half, and that one was pretty good. That's on Netflix actually, and yeah, that one was pretty good. But yeah, I still haven't seen was it Boyhood, and I still haven't seen the other anime movie he did, Scanner Darkly, and Bernie. I haven't seen yet, and Everybody Wants Some, which is kind of a sequel to Days of Confused. I've heard, which I've heard that one's actually an underrated gem. But yeah, I'm still working on ranking his films. Hopefully, I'll have a ranking for his movie sometime in the future. But I really respect this dude. This Richard Linklater is a really underrated director. Like, he knows how to write movies for sure. He has great dialogue. This movie definitely proves it. And yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk about the dialogue in this film?
I mean, I'm even just trying to get a.
I mean, there's a lot of it.
I mean, okay, well, let me throw that question with another. Like, what do you with another question? What do you think this movie's about?
I don't even know if it's about anything,
What do you think?
to be
Honest. Yeah.
I mean, not really. It's just showing a day in the life of, I think it's Austin, Texas, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
that's pretty much it. So I don't think this movie really has a meaning.
Yeah.
I don't know. Besides just the day in the life of Austin, Texas.
I feel like it. I feel like it does because whenever he's talking about the dream scene, he's like talking about how there's all these different realities going on, and
Right.
and so I feel like this movie's about like how many like it's kind of tiring watching this movie because you just see I don't know how many people were in this movie, how many like characters there were, but there were a lot. It felt like
Yeah.
a ton because I don't even remember half of them. And they were all like
I remember most of them at least. There's some forgettable ones,
mhm.
but
They were all like doing their own thing and like going through their own problems or their own like thoughts on like what's the meaning of life or what's uh what's going on in society. Like
yeah,
surprisingly, there was like a lot of
politics.
like leftist politics in this movie, which I was not expecting to see.
Yeah.
Like there was like really deep kind of it seemed like critiques of like anarchism with the grandpa because they were like
The old
yeah
dude
the old
that
guy
with
yeah not the grandpa I guess the old dad who lied about like
he
fighting.
was a funny character.
He was. He lied about fighting in the Spanish Civil War with George Orwell. And that's kind of a meme in like leftist circles because leftists say or like socialists will be like, "Oh, anarchists have never done anything." And that's what it felt like that scene was about. Is like this dude's talking up a big game and then
And then his daughter later.
he
You know
lied about it.
what was funny about that one? I guess we're going to go out of order talking about these different stuff, but that's the first one we're okay. Besides that first scene,
Yeah.
but besides the first scene. This is the first one we're talking about. But what I thought was really funny was the dude that he was talking to, who was apparently robbing that place. I think maybe trying to find a TV for that one dude.
Yeah, he's trying to find a
because
TV in this house.
Yeah.
In the anarchist dad's house.
yeah, and like him and the old dude and his daughter walks in the place, and like he's like reading a book or something, and then they come in and he sees them. He's like, "Oh, just a second," and he's like,
He pulls out a gun on him. And then the anarchist just grabs it.
He's
from
just like,
him.
"Just give it here,"
Give it here.
and they're just like having a normal conversation. I mean, thank Christ that dude was dumb.
It was insane. Like the anarchist dad's like talking about. He's like, man, I wish I could blow up the Texas Capitol right there and stuff like that. And it's just like he's got like clippings of anarchists on his wall and funny shit like that. And then his daughter tells the would-be robber, that he like lied. Like he's not. He didn't go to.
Yeah.
He didn't go to Barcelona or whatever.
That might be my favorite story in the movie.
I think it was
Maybe.
like I mean,
One of
you were
them.
laughing at me watching it because my mouth was just open. I was just like this.
You're like, what the
I was
fuck
like
is
this for
going
so long.
on?
I was not expecting.
And then
half of this
whenever
movie.
she said that you lied about it, you're like, oh.
It clicked in my head because there's
Yeah.
like
I actually kind of forgot about that, but yeah.
that's what like leftists fight about on like Twitter and stuff. They're like anarchists have never.
Honestly, I don't even know. This guy's more into politics than I am. But
Yeah, I'm a poli science major. Um, but that's what they fight about on Twitter. They're like, yeah, like anarchists have never actually had a country for any amount of time. They've never ruled anything and stuff. So it just felt weird coming out of this movie. That's what I got from it. I was like, what?
yeah,
But
this movie was a lot funnier than I remembered. To be honest, I mean,
it is really funny.
I always had some good laughs here and there, but like, I think maybe it was just with this guy just watching. Sometimes I kind of laugh more whenever we're watching movies together. To be honest, at least like out loud. But then again, I'm by myself for most of the time. But like, yeah, this movie was making me laugh. I think even more than I have before. And
it was definitely like it. I'm trying to like gather the words of how to describe it, but it's like I felt like it was making fun of everyone in the movie, almost. Like it was kind of like
interesting, yeah.
poking fun at all these characters. They're like, and basically, I feel like we need to talk about like what Austin is as a city and what it kind of, especially was back then, as like this sort of underground art movement.
Oh yeah.
But it was like really white. Like it was like a bunch of like just middle upper class people.
Art movement. There was a lot of musicians. I mean, like bands for pretty popular bands like the Butthole Surfers and Daniel Johnston. Okay, real quick. Here's a little fact. The girl on this cover, which we didn't have even talked about yet, but she was actually a drummer for the Butthole Surfers.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Teresa Taylor, I believe is her name, or at least that's her real name. I forgot what she went by when she was in the band. Actually, the band had two drummers at one point, and she was one of them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was like in the 80s, maybe around this time. Mm-hmm. But this came out in 1990, filmed in 89, I imagine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, a little fact there. I think I even said that in my old review too. But yeah, yeah, you didn't know that, did you?
No, I don't know anything about Butthole Surfers.
Butthole Surfers and Daniel Johnston is what I was going to say, by the way, about the two guys that two bands, artists, whatever they were. There's some others too. I forgot what else, but those are like the big ones I think that came from there.
Yeah, the only one.
Okay, I don't know about
Big Boys is the only other one that I know. It's like a punk group.
Okay.
I can't tell if they're assholes or like actual cool, good musicians.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know if Butthole Surfers are from Austin, but they are from Texas. That much I know. Mm-hmm. But anyways, one of my favorites though is with this girl. I mean, it starts out with this guy and this other guy and this other girl just talking to each other, and then she comes out of nowhere and like. First, she's like being cool. She's like, "Hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a long time." Blah blah. And then she pulls out what she bought like off the internet, or I don't know the internet, but like she bought from somebody what was supposed to be a Madonna patch smear.
Yeah, yeah.
That was pretty weird
so
and
weird.
funny. Like, yeah. But I think it's interesting that she's the one on the poster.
Yeah.
But then again, she is the one probably the most interesting looking character in the movie. So that's probably why.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was a guy when I first saw this.
Me too. I thought it was like a young, maybe like a teenage boy or something.
I thought it was until I heard her speak when I first saw this.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was one of my favorites, and the old guy and the robber definitely too. I liked the dude. Maybe my favorite character was that funny guy, that guy who was kind of an asshole, but he kind of looked like Billy Bob Thornton. He came from a
He
funeral.
was really funny.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
Whenever he started playing the arcade machine, the dude was like, "All right, watch out for that skinhead."
The skinhead with the red mohawk
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
And he was like, "I got it, I got it." You know, it's like playing the arcade game. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
whenever he these guys picked him up in their car, and they're like, he's like, where'd you come from? Because he's like wearing a suit, and he's like, he's like a funeral. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, fuck it. He was my stepdad. He was an asshole. Something
Yeah,
like that.
it's just
And
this world reminded me of when I was in college. Um, I lived in a bigger town, and I was trying to get into the art scene a little bit,
mm,
and half the people I would meet and stuff, like I would end up like thinking that they're kind of dorky, or they're kind of pretentious, or like trying to be really cool and shit.
was there like some characters in this movie that reminded you?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
there were a
Yeah.
few that were like that. Okay, the guy that was like trying to pick up those chicks at the to go to that concert, that was like a little bit toward the end of the film.
Yeah.
But that guy, I was just not having it with. I mean, I was laughing at him, but
It
it
was
is.
it is cringy. Like it made me. I just was like, oh, I'm so happy I'm not that guy right now.
Yeah,
Like he was.
he was like saying that he like knew the band personally. He's like, oh, yeah,
I'm on the list.
I'm on the list. Yeah,
I'm on the list. And he just he like doesn't have a job. He's sleeping on couches and stuff. Like he's flirting with this girl who just got out of a relationship and is like
yeah.
just and he's like a charming guy, but like he's just like, can I get $3 off you and stuff, like saying weird, cringy things. This movie's a weird experience. Like it really it it invoked a lot of like weird uh
I
feelings in
thought
my
of, I
brain.
thought of a few more characters we can
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
nice.
too.
But I think this movie does like represent like a time and place very well. I think it's if you're into things with a lot of characters and like well written characters, like then you'll love this because they're like well written, and after 10 minutes or 5 minutes they're gone forever and you won't ever see them again.
Exactly.
You won't
Yeah.
ever see them again.
And yeah, I mean, even if whether you like them or you don't like them, that you still have to mention, you still have to say that they're still interesting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, um, couple more I want to talk about. These two guys, which were in separate scenes, but these two guys that just both would not shut up. Um, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay,
Which
the
ones?
first one I'll talk about. The first one was early in the movie, when he was wearing that Batman shirt and he was talking to that dude
Oh
about like
yeah,
he's like an older guy.
conspiracy theories and stuff.
He was talking about yeah, actually they both talk about conspiracy theories. The other dude.
Yes, yeah.
We'll talk about him in a minute, but this guy he was talking about like he's like saying like yeah we're still on Mars or something like that. And
Oh yeah,
we've been on the moon for about 20 years now or something.
yeah.
It was pretty funny. It, that guy, and then there's another guy who also talked about conspiracy theories. He was a little bit younger than him, and he was like a lot fatter and stuff. And like at first, showed him talk to this girl that he went to school with in a
Obviously
bookstore.
has a crush on. Yeah.
You think so?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
he was definitely like yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, hey, I'll be honest, I couldn't blame him. She was one of the best looking girls in that movie. I like hippie chicks. She wasn't wearing a bra either.
You're a pervert. You're a capital G pervert.
Well,
Capital P pervert.
no. Anyways, um, yeah. He was talking to her about the JFK assassination theories and whatnot. About talking about I forgot what all he was talking about.
He was literally he was talking about Lee Harvey Oswald and how he was set up. He didn't kill JFK, and that's like a real
Right.
that's
Is
obviously a
that
real theory.
okay?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
yeah. I mean, like all the shit
I
that
mean, that doesn't surprise me.
yeah, both conspiracy theorists in the movie, like they were talking about real conspiracies, and some of them like might be more true than not. So, like personally, I think the situation with JFK is complicated.
Okay,
I
I don't
think
know
yeah,
shit about that really.
I'm not I'm not like
I didn't
a
even know that was in Texas, to be honest.
yeah.
That shooting.
It's in Dallas.
I didn't even know
Mhm.
that. I was actually thinking it was in DC.
Who would have thought, man? Who
Well,
would have
he's the
thought?
president.
Yeah, it's true. He's not locked in the White House though, like he should be, doing his damn job.
Okay. But anyways, those two characters though, even though they were both kind of annoying, I still liked them anyways just because they were funny.
It was kind of crazy, yeah,
Yeah.
because this movie would ride that line between like being kind of annoying, but also still like entertaining and interesting at the same time.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
those characters, they served a purpose. It was like talking about their personality more than what they were actually saying. Like
Yeah.
this dude was flirting with a girl, thinking that she would be interested in how deep he is into a conspiracy. Like that's dumb. Like, and there's real people like that who are like, oh, um, I like Stone Temple Pilots so much. Isn't that cool? Like,
Temple
yeah,
Pilots.
people like selling what they like or what they're deeply interested in as their only um talking point to like a potential like date or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was poking fun at that type of guy who's like, well, I'm a wild
By the
conspiracy
way,
theorist.
do you remember her boyfriend?
Oh, her boyfriend sucked. Her
That
boyfriend blew chunks,
before
dude.
he showed up, it showed her with her boyfriend, and see, that's what I kind of liked though about the
Blew
characters. They
chunks.
were like, it would show them in one scene, from like maybe the last character from the other scene,
Yeah,
and then like they'll go into the next scene, and then once they talk to somebody, it'll follow that character next. That's what it was
yeah.
with that.
It's like linear. It goes through.
Yeah,
It like spreads person to person.
yeah, but like
Her
what?
boyfriend
Yeah,
blows.
what was he talking about? I don't even
So
remember.
so this is what I'm saying. Like this movie, it's I think it has meaning in it, but also it's meaningless. I feel like that's what the director's kind of doing. But it's so political. Like it was talking, he's basically a libertarian politically.
Was he?
Yeah, and he was like basically saying that she his girlfriend gave this homeless guy a quarter
And a soda
and a soda.
that he got for her, by the way.
And then he said he got mad at her and was like, why'd you do that? That did nothing.
Yeah, that's right.
He said like basically saying like the homeless guy has to do it on his own. He can't beg for change and food from for other people, and also that that's also that her giving her stuff away is hurting herself, and that she like is thinking that the homeless person can't do it for themselves or something. It was really weird. It was like just disturbing conversation. It was just like a guy who cares more about like statistics and his ideology than just being nice to another human being and stuff. Which she was like, because she was like basically like, there's nothing in your heart but your freaking like studies and your articles and stuff like that.
Was he saying that to her?
No, that's what she told him. She was like, "There's
Oh,
nothing
okay.
in that chest of yours but your damn articles or something like that,
Hmm.
like the shit you've been
Damn,
reading."
I don't even remember. It's
So
been a little while
I was
now.
really paying attention to that shit because it was like this movie seemed like because every like second or third story it would come back to people being like talking about like oppression
Mm.
and like political things. Like there, I remember the first political scene had like Marx and Frederick Engels on the wall, and this dude was talking like he was like, yeah, like elections, Hitler, Pinochet, and then
I
his
don't
two
even remember.
homies. Yeah, his two. It was really funny because he was talking about all this political mumbo jumbo, and then his two homies weren't even listening to him, and they were playing this like dumb
Oh,
finger
okay,
game.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was like he's literally just talking to himself.
I
about
wasn't even
this.
listening to him. I was paying attention to their game.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like that was the purpose of that scene. It was
Yeah.
like no one was listening to him because he's like boring. Um, I broke his phone.
Nah, it's fine.
But
it's already broken anyways.
But that was the point of that scene. I felt like was that this dude is like having a deep conversation about politics, but like a lot of times it's rare for people to even hear it and understand it or listen to it at all.
Yeah.
And I relate to that guy because I sometimes I get on like rants.
And no one pays attention to you.
Well, even if they did, they wouldn't understand like
Yeah.
the jargon that I use.
Like me. I
Yeah.
would just be like, yeah. Yeah. See, that's kind of how I felt about that girl talking to the fat dude, you know, who had a crush on her in the bookstore. Like, she wasn't really following what he was saying and stuff. She was just trying to be nice. She's like,
Yeah. Yeah, she's being nice
and at the end too, she's like, "Oh, look out for your book."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was gonna write his own book about the JFK thing.
It's a new approach. It's a new approach.
While he was getting like new magazines about the JFK stuff. Just filling stuff.
Okay, I was gonna say
he's one of my favorites too. Actually,
he's really
that guy.
I was gonna say this, but I think that is so. The movie in the first scene when he's talking about his dreams and stuff, and he's talking about all these multiple. See, okay, there. This is the anarchist that killed I forgot what president it was.
That was the old guy he was talking about there, right?
Yes, yeah, the old guy was like, back in the day, they used to do stuff. It was funny. But that's what I think this movie's about, is that everyone is in their own reality, and it's kind of hard for people to understand each other sometimes, because we're so far, like, with the conspiracy theorist guys, like you were talking about, the person talking to them didn't ask.
Exactly.
So the conspiracy theory guys are like, yeah, CIA, yeah, water, yeah, space, yeah, blah, 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 JFK. Yeah. And the other person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about because that's not their reality.
Yeah, they just go along with it.
They just go along to get by.
Yeah, they're not assholes, so.
Yeah. So I think this movie is and I've been honestly thinking about this a lot in my personal life, and me and my family talk about this all the time, is like, everyone's in their own reality and in their own brain, so it's like it's hard for people to really be on the same page sometimes because we're too focused on, you know, this aspect of life or this other aspect of life. Maybe politics, maybe art, maybe food, maybe sex, maybe anything. And everyone's really in deep into their own brain that they kind of have trouble connecting to other people in a real genuine way. And that I feel like that's one aspect of this movie, but I think there's unlimited aspects of this film.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that's why that's kind of the meaning I got from it.
Yeah.
The infinite realities that there are.
Yeah. That's kind of, in some ways, kind of like the movie Waking Life. Like, it's a little bit similar to that, but a lot of the stuff they talk about other stuff other than dreams, but that was like a big thing. And that one actually did have a main character, though. But yeah, that one, I don't know. That one might be kind of interesting to you. I don't. I mean, I think it's on HBO Max. I don't know if you have HBO Max, but
not anymore.
Okay, but I don't know if you ever get the chance, you might check that out. I don't really want to. I wouldn't really want to watch it again, to be honest, but it's pretty cool.
I hear that.
Yeah, but yeah. So I'm trying to think of what else to say. Were there anyone else in the movie that you remember?
Okay, well, I was gonna talk about this. I thought about the.
Okay, there was something on the camera or the screen I had to get off.
I thought about the dude selling shirts.
Do you remember?
The dude selling
briefly there.
The dude selling like Nelson Mandela shirts.
Yeah.
On the street.
He was just briefly.
He was briefly there, but it stuck with me because I was like, okay, we're watching this movie and I'm gonna talk about it in a podcast. So
Oh,
I
okay.
was like paying attention to like what's happening pretty
Okay.
hardcore, and
I barely remember him.
it was well, that's the
I
kind
mean,
of the
I know who you're talking
that's
about.
kind of the thing. Like since I pay attention to like a bunch of like politics stuff, I was listening to what he was talking
Yeah.
about.
What was he talking about?
He was basically
Nelson Mandela.
yeah, who's a communist and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the term, the Mandela effect. Like
right.
people thought that he was dead,
Like in the 80s, but
Yeah.
he was still alive
Yeah.
after a while.
Um,
I think didn't they like think he got killed? Like he got like viciously murdered
yeah,
or something?
yeah. It was probably some other guy from that area
Yeah.
of the United States. Killed,
Yeah.
but it was like that scene was talking about, at least from a political perspective, was talking about the commodification of uh, leftist movements because he was trying to sell this anti-capitalist message to these people financially. Like he was like, buy this magazine, buy this shirt, buy this magazine, buy this shirt, and it was just like I feel through this movie, it almost made me think of The Holy Mountain by Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Yeah, we
because,
watched that not that long ago.
yeah, and I feel like both these movies are kind of the director's brain almost.
Okay.
They're kind of like I feel like there's a lot of interesting subjects that are being talked about in like 5 to 10 minutes in this movie, like interesting things that Richard may or may not believe, but he does think about. It is like
I'm not really
pretty
sure what
interesting.
his thoughts are, like his about his politics or whatever.
Or not even just politics, but just like life in general.
Yeah,
Almost.
I'm not really sure.
Because this movie goes through like a lot of different. Um, it goes through a lot of different lenses, and that's sort of what I thought too. I really think this movie is like a kind of a look into his brain almost,
Yeah,
and what he feels.
yeah,
Um, but you're talking about other scenes. I think the TV scene
yeah. That
was cool.
Yeah,
It was this weird like he's I guess he's like a hermit guy, but he's obsessed with television, and he dives like, or even just video in general. The
Right.
concept of video and recording
yeah.
something.
He like gets like these tapes and
Yeah.
stuff.
And he got this tape of this like history student who held his class hostage or something like that, and he had a
Something like that. I know he shot at the camera.
yeah, he had like a clip of him like basically talking about his ideology.
Yeah,
And then he was like, I'm gonna fast forward through him talking to show where he shoots the camera
yeah,
because it's like he's more fascinated with um the action moments in this, or rather than the dialogue or the opinion of the hostage guy, the dude who the criminal basically, the bad guy. Which is really interesting. I in the way he was
Yeah.
talking about like how he doesn't like going outside or whatever because he can't like pause or like rewind and all these funny things.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like
He had like one strapped to his back. Too.
yeah,
The why I don't know, but it was running.
yeah, it was really funny.
What?
He had like 10 TVs in his room like playing at all times.
One like this dinosaur looking one that looked like a microwave.
Yeah, yeah, and one like this big, one tiny, like really tiny on the wall. But same thing with like that scene. Like I got the impression that Richard was like talking
I
about
thought of two other guys we could talk about.
already. That he was talking about his opinion on being like a filmmaker almost is that it's kind of a weird thing. Like you're doing a weird act and you're obsessed with this recording of images rather than being in the moment for the moment's sake.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. But
I like the guys in the bar who were like really. They had like a shitload of beers, and they were talking about like how was it like subliminal messaging or something in cartoons?
yeah, like
and,
cartoons indoctrinate.
yeah, they were talking
people.
about like Scooby Doo, where like they thought like the whole Scooby snack thing was bribery. That was pretty
Yeah,
funny.
catch a criminal, get a Scooby snack.
Yeah, there was one about the Smurfs too. I forgot what they were talking about with the Smurfs.
The
you know?
Smurfs was like parental control over their children, stuff
Oh,
like that.
okay.
It was funny.
I know one of the guys in the credits was credited as Papa Smurf.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also love because these characters, most of them at least, don't really have names. I know, like there was like
Yeah.
maybe a couple who's like was named Paul. That one dude that was flirting with the girl with the band, his name was Steve. But but like most of them don't really have names. They'll have like these weird names in the credits, and like some of them will be like quotes that they said, like Richard Linklater's characters, like I should have stayed at the bus station or something like
Yeah.
that.
That honestly might be one of my favorite parts of the movie. Is just looking at the credits. to be
Yeah,
honest. It was really fun.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Is there any other scenes
Trying
that
to
strike you?
remember. I mean, I feel like there's a shitload we could talk about, but I also feel like we talked about them, at least all the good ones.
We talked about we definitely talked about the ones that we really liked.
Yeah.
I thought
I like the guy at the end in the car that was like just bullshit. What was he talking about? Guns or something? Something like no, not guns.
oh yeah,
I forgot, but
He
yeah
had
no, he was
that.
talking about guns.
Yeah, that wrestling microphone that ring announcers has in his car. And has the fucking
Bullhorns and shit like
yeah on his car. Like it kind of reminds me. I love it when people have horn, have megaphones on their cars
Uh-huh.
and they speak through. I don't know why, but that always makes me laugh. Like for example, that the Big Boss Man, whatever he WWE, whatever
Yeah.
Big Boss Man wrecked Big Show's dad's funeral. Who, by the way, I think was supposed to be Andre the Giant. Because Big Show was supposed to be Andre the Giant's son.
That's so funny.
Because that was like around the time when Andre the Giant died. So I think that's who it was supposed to be.
That's crazy, man.
But anyways, that was hilarious. That killed me. Just I don't know. Hearing people talk on megaphones makes me laugh because their voices just sound funny. But like I don't know. That scene was making me laugh. There's actually a scene in Waking Life that was very similar to that with Alex Jones is in it, and he's talking about, and he had like a megaphone.
I was just about to talk about Alex Jones because I feel like he influenced.
Yeah.
I don't remember when he started up, but I feel like he really like influenced the conspiracy talk in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, cause he's from Austin.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's been an Austin guy for a long time. And
yeah, that makes sense. I'm surprised he wasn't in this movie.
I know, yeah.
He was in Waking Life though. Of course, he was animated, but he was playing, I think, as himself, and he was doing that same thing where he was driving with a megaphone, talking about that stuff.
It's insane.
About politics.
Yeah, and even like just, yeah, he's a psycho, but
he's pretty funny though. I have to be
see,
honest.
yeah, I remember
he's a character.
Well, I remember in high school, like I didn't know how like bad he was, like what kind of impact he had in the real world.
I didn't even know who he was till like a year ago, to be honest, because I've been watching these try not to laugh challenges, and they take some clips of him sometimes.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like we watched some clips.
Did we?
In high school, because I thought it was really funny.
I don't even remember.
You might not have been as interested as I was.
Okay.
But
I don't even remember.
Yeah, but I mean, he's caused like a lot of real world harm and stuff, which sucks. But yeah,
there is a quote I want to say that he said. I mean, this is off topic, but I just want to say this. I saw this in a try not to laugh challenge where he was. It was a Deke the One try not to laugh challenges. He's not around anymore, but he used to do these try not to laugh challenges. I used to watch them all the time. But I'm not joking. This one started out with this one with Alex Jones saying, he said, "There's no evidence about Donald Trump sucking a ding dong," and he goes, "I haven't sucked any ding dongs, but I'll tell you, if someone tried to blackmail me about World War III, I'd say I'll suck a golf ball through a freaking garden hose." That's the funniest thing I've ever heard him say.
I will say since he lied about a conspiracy theory, he basically convinced his fans to harass parents whose kids got murdered in a school shooting, and they had like the parents had death threats from his fans and stuff. So he sucks. He blows, and he's making like so much money doing this shit where he's just lying, and he knows he's lying. He's just a character, like you said. He's just he's literally a character. Like
he's like a character in this movie.
Yeah, honestly. But that's also what I wanted to talk about. This I love the setting. It made and the way that things were like set up. Like in people's houses, there was just pictures of like Lee Harvey Oswald on the wall, like in a lot of people's houses, and just there was books standing up. There are all these things where you
Yeah.
could just look around and see people on the walls, and it was like really interesting.
Real quick, the first scene to have the first house in the scene, which was the guy who killed his mother. He had in his room the Eraserhead baby.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That was
Yeah.
awesome. Big Eraserhead, big David Lynch fan. Eraserhead's my favorite movie.
Yeah. So the way that the film looked, the way everyone dressed was really interesting. They all looked like hipsters from
Yeah.
like 7 years ago, which is wild.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like they look like Portlandia characters.
This
But
is like 1989,
yeah,
1990, the movie.
yeah. There was literally a barista in this movie that looked like a Portlandia character. It was weird. He had, like,
Portlandia,
he had
that's
that
Fred
beard.
Armisen.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's a
I've seen
I
some
like
of
that show.
Who was the girl in the show? I forgot her name. It's Fred Armisen, and I forgot her name.
I see her face so clearly in my
Yeah.
head. Now, I feel bad that I don't know her name, but yeah, I don't know her name. Also, Kyle MacLachlan's in it.
Definitely got to watch it then.
Kyle's the mayor of Portland.
That's awesome.
He's really like one of my favorite parts of that show.
He's so weird.
I've seen a couple episodes, but I've never really watched it.
What would you rate this movie?
Oh, wait, you want to talk about that now? Usually we would wait for later to do that.
That's okay. We wait.
Which we're getting closer to an
Yeah.
hour at least. That's
True.
probably.
That's the
Well,
cutoff,
baby.
stop, right?
I think so.
That's what we did last time.
I mean, if you have anything else to say, go ahead. I'm just looking up who that chick is from Portlandia. How do you spell Portlandia? I guess that's not it. Is it A-I-A? Okay. All right, gotcha. Carrie Brownston? Brownston? Yeah.
Brownstein.
Brownstein, yeah.
There
But-
she is. Party hard.
Yeah.
Um,
She's a musician?
yeah, she's in a bunch of like
Oh,
rock.
Slater Kinney. I've heard of them.
Mm.
However you say their name. Yeah, I've heard of them. Okay. Anyways,
This movie
I know
seems
we're
like
off topic. I'm sorry.
this movie. I feel like this movie represents a generation of people pretty well. Like it makes me think like Fred Armisen that probably watched this movie a lot whenever he was like 20
Yeah.
or like early like as a young adult because I feel like these people were the artists in Austin in 1990 like late 80s
Bumping my
like,
head on this thing again.
late 80s
That's
Early
the theme
90s.
That's what happens, and that's the trademark of this show. Me bumping my head on this damn thing.
But yeah, like I mean, I think this movie is just like a kind of a creative. It's just its own thing. It's just a
Yeah.
creative force, pretty much.
Yeah, I really dig it. All right, so I'll say this. This movie in particular was the movie that made Kevin Smith want to make a movie of his own.
Really?
Yes. This was
Wow.
the big one. Also Do the Right Thing was like an influence on Clerks,
Mhm.
but this as well. This was the one that made him want to make a movie.
Mm. So if this movie wasn't made, there would be no yoga hosers.
I guess not. Yoga hosers. Cop out.
There'd be no cop out for sure.
Yoga hosers I can stand. Cop out, no. I'll never watch that movie
Okay.
again. That was terrible.
I have not watched either. Not watched either.
Yoga hosers I actually don't hate. It's not great.
Hot take.
It's okay. Yeah. And Tusk is underrated as fuck.
I do
Tusk is a good movie. Fuck you for not thinking that.
I was entertained by it.
It's actually a good movie.
watching that movie past midnight is a weird experience. For sure.
I think no, I don't know if I watched it past midnight. I know I watched it at your house actually. Whenever your mom was out of, I think it was past after you left, but your mom was out of town. I was house sitting. I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
Tusk, and then I watched Zach and Miri make a porno the
Wow.
same night.
Double feature. Hell of a double feature.
Both Kevin Smith films. We might even have to do some Kevin Smith movies. Like I want to show you Mallrats and maybe Chasing Amy.
We'll see.
Someday.
We'll see what happens.
Because you have kind of your own thoughts about those films, or at least Kevin Smith in general, or something like that.
Yeah.
You do like Clerks.
I think Clerks is a good
Tusk,
movie.
but
I despise Clerks 2. I think it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I disagree. But I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't. I mean, I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. Wow, really? Worst you ever seen?
One of the
Wow.
worst movies I've ever seen.
That's crazy.
Bar none. But yeah, we should do a Kevin Smith thing
Right on.
because we'll have a real debate episode. Because I have a feeling like
I already have a movie what we could do to have a debate.
What?
Carrie. We had to watch
I
it together.
know, we do.
But
We do.
But maybe let's just, I don't know. Unless maybe if we watch it together, maybe you'll see how bad it is too.
I've watched it at least twice.
Okay.
My whole life.
I think me too.
All right. Third time's the charm. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, future episodes maybe, guys.
Future debate
see.
episodes.
Debate.
Do we want to reveal the next episode? The next planned episode?
We will in a minute, but since I guess we're getting there. So, all right. So, and I'm sorry for going off topic, but
This movie's kind of hard to stay on topic for.
we were a little off topic on the last one. Too,
Yeah,
at
that's true.
times.
That's true.
But no, I mean, but overall, Slacker. You liked this movie, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so on a scale of one from 1 to 10, what would you give it?
8.
8?
I give it an 8.
Okay, cool. You liked it better than Taxi Driver?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I'm not.
Talk about hot takes.
Well, this is like weirder.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a big weird fan.
And you like independent films anyways, so.
Some.
Okay.
That's even another topic. Like, I think this is a good independent film. Would I watch it in the next 5 years? Probably not.
Oh, yeah?
Probably not.
You might not watch it this movie?
Yeah,
Or Taxi Driver?
Probably either. For the next 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Didn't I give Taxi Driver like a 7.9?
7 point. I thought you gave it like a 7.1 or something like
7.1.
that.
That sounds.
I don't know, something like that.
Something like that.
But I give it a 9 out of 10. At one point, I said that it was like one of my favorite movies, I think. And, this is kind of a movie that's not as rewatchable as I did think it was. Like, I remember the very last time I watched it, I was like, before this at least, I wasn't quite into it, but then this time I liked it better than the last time. But, it's not a real watchable movie.
No.
But I still love it, and I definitely can watch it much sooner than you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll watch it again this year. Well, fuck, the year's ending anyways soon, so
It is down.
yeah. But yeah, 9 out of 10. You 8 out of 10. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. I would say probably my second or third favorite Richard Linklater film. I don't know. I mean, I know I like Before Sunrise better, and maybe Suburbia. I don't know. I'm not sure. I need to watch that movie again. I'm planning on ordering it sometime from Amazon. But yeah. So yeah, Slacker. Great film. I mean, again, spoilers, but this movie has a spoiler warning. But yeah, highly recommend though. Right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. If you're if you're open to movies that are more of like
Dialogue heavy
and just like pushing the art form instead of like this is the.
But it's very dialogue heavy. So
Right. Yeah. If you're into movies that
that inspired, that would say as inspiration for Kevin Smith because his
Yeah.
films are dialogue heavy.
If you're into movies that are trying to be more creative than follow a specific sort of the specific beats of a movie, then you'll probably like this one.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah. All right. So yeah, Slacker. That's the second movie of this episode, episode 2. And now I guess we'll reveal the next movie that we are going to do. I don't know how loud that's going to be.
hopefully really loud.
That will be New New Jack City.
Right.
Year is 1991. Wow.
Let's go.
A year after this, and it stars Wesley Snipes, Ice motherfucking T, Chris Rock, and Judd Nelson. So yeah, neither of us have seen this, right?
I've been meaning to for a long time.
Yeah, this is actually his movie.
Yeah, this is my copy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about this movie. So
it says a modern gangster thriller.
Interesting.
So,
interesting.
our first gangster.
Okay,
movie.
it's not that long either. It's only
Let's go.
101 minutes. But yeah. So yeah, that'll be the next one, New Jack City. Maybe next week, next Saturday, maybe perhaps we'll see. So yeah. Anyway, so all right. So yeah. If you made it this far, thank you very much. This was your. Still got to get the name of the podcast down. Your cousins.
Our critics.
Your cousins are critics.
Yes.
Yes. So thank you for watching. So yeah, see you next time. Please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell.
Do your thing.
And I'll see. We'll see you, or I'll see you next time.
Very soon.
Yes. All right.
Bye.
Peace.
Peace out. Shabam.